The rulebook doesn't say you have to tackle this journey of life alone. These are the times I make those connections with others, so we can all take a look back while we all move forward. This is the Dependent Independent Podcast.
MiniSode.
Hey there, subscribers. Thank you for downloading and listening to MiniSode 47 and a half of the Dependent Independent Podcast. I'm your host, Nick G. This is a podcast about making connections, looking back while moving forward. In these minisodes, I get my subscribers caught up on what they missed in our last episode, what has been going on with me since we recorded that last episode, and what you can anticipate in future episodes. If you haven't already done so, even though I do these minisodes for my subscribers, I'd love for you to subscribe on any podcast app on iOS or Android. Every time I post this show, and every week when there's a new podcast app, we post and host our shows on Libsyn.com. They always seem to grow and grow and grow. I'm now on TuneIn, which is a podcast app on the intronets, intrawebs. And you can follow me on Twitter at dependent_Nick. When I mentioned before, when you subscribe to the show, we post these minisodes and full episodes every week at midnight. Today is Monday. I'm live streaming this on Facebook. I'm really enjoying it. I love the fact that I get to connect now. I used to record these and put these on YouTube, but nah, that's nothing. I'm not going to do that anymore. This is way cooler, way better. I get to get some feedback from the folks that are listening and watching on at home. I guess at home. We have a Facebook page, the Dependent Independent Podcast page. The unfortunate thing is I actually live stream this on my personal page because, to be honest with you, I got a lot more people on that page, and then I just kind of upload it over to the Facebook page, or the official podcast Facebook page. We are everywhere, like I said, on the intrawebs. You can follow me on Twitter. You can also follow me on Instagram at dependent_Nick. We have hyperlinks to this, actually not the Instagram. I don't put that in our show notes, but we put links to all the ways you can listen to the show. But if you are listening, you're either already a subscriber, which is what these minisodes are for, or you just happen to come across this because you decided to listen to something new. It's almost 2 years to the day that I've recorded this podcast virtually every week since January of 2015, and I'm really excited to announce that, and you may have already known because I've invited the shit out of people on my Facebook page, but we have a live event at the Tomfoolery Brewing Company, which will be in January, on January 21st. That's 2 years to the day, hashtag 2 years to the day, that we posted our first live episode where my pal Dewey and I decided that we didn't know what the hell we were doing, recorded a show, realized the audio was so shitty, and then we redid the same conversation and put it out on the internet. It's amazing how we've evolved and the people I've met with, and what's exciting is I'm actually going to be able to get people, hey Chris, what's up? I'm actually going to get people that have been on the show to visit. That is... I'm not looking to fill that bar up with 50 people, especially strangers, but as long as people walk in that I've made connections with and I know who they are, it's going to be amazing. We're ordering all of our marketing material on Vistaprints. I'm working with Rodeo Robot in town for t-shirts, which I'm super excited. If you are one of the folks listening right now and you do some marketing material, I love to shop around. So I'd love for you to let me know what you can do. We'll have posters. I'm really starting to think of a theme that can get people that arrive to take part in the show. Dewey's going to be my co-host. It's very serendipitous that he's going to be a co-host on the show. He and I started it when all of you listening and watching and those subscribers that tune in for these minisodes had zero expectations, and I had no idea what to expect. But we put it online, and people started downloading, and people listen to our show in Germany and England and Australia, which is awesome. I can track all that. It's great. But a majority of our downloads and listens are actually here in the U.S. So thank you for joining me. Last episode, I was with. Oh, and here I want to ask you something. I don't know. I'm going to ask the folks that live streaming now what they think, but I don't know if any of you guys remember back in the day, which we say that a lot on this show because it's a podcast about looking back while moving forward. There used to be like a kiosk in the mall, and the mall kiosk sold records, and on those records it was like a lightweight record, but it would sing you happy birthday. And what it would do, it would be the same song, and whoever recorded it would put your name in it. So it would be like, dun, 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 happy birthday, Nick. And then it would be like, banana. and whatever you bought. So my father or whoever, or grandmother, would buy my sister and I the records. And the way the records worked, if you guys remember, if those who remember what they are, you'd actually put it on a turntable, and you'd have to put like a dime or a quarter on it to weigh it down, because they were flimsy. You weren't getting real vinyl. You were getting like a grooved piece of plastic, basically a plastic dinner plate that you'd put on your LP player, and then you'd play it with the needle. I was thinking, I don't know if you think this is cheesy, but I may do this just for shits and giggles in a project, because I love messing around with this editing stuff, is I may go back on episode 47, because I kept saying episode 48. I may record just the words episode 47 and just overdub it and overdub it and overdub it. That's right, Bob. They were real flimsy, right? They weren't even flat. Like those records weren't even flat. But I was thinking, in the vein of those stupid records, I may go back and just do that, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So the fact that I keep saying episode 48 when it's actually episode 47. So this, in fact, right now is MiniSode 47 and a half. And then next week I'll record and post episode 48. Episode 47, officially, I had a friend of mine that I met through this podcast. I've met her in person at a podcast convention, at the Mid-Atlantic Podcast Convention, which some of the folks that are actually on this live stream, I've met there as well, local podcasters here in South Jersey. I've mentioned them on the show, so listen to our back catalog, even though this is episode 47. Hey, Kartik, even though this is episode 47, this is, we have probably over 70 episodes. So to prepare for the big celebration on January 21st, I ask you subscribe if you haven't already done so, but all you guys, I'm sure you listen to the show 6-7 times a day. Go back and start in the beginning, where you hear this evolution of where we got today. Jen and I, Jen Crawford, who is the host of the podcast called The Jellyvision Show, she is amazing. There is a thing like, as you get older, and this is a birthday episode because tomorrow is my twin sister and my birthday, but I'm going to reflect on getting older. When you have as you get older, it's not as easy to make the connections that you had when you were a kid. Like, it was just as easy to walk up to a kid when you were young and say, "Hey, kid, you want to play?" I mean, that was the way you made friends, right? Whether it be in your neighborhood or in school. But as you got older and life became more sophisticated, and I think it has a lot to do with people judging people, you create walls that maybe you make friends that you could probably look, anyone on listening right now could probably reflect on a friend that you probably hesitated to make friends with, but found that they were pretty amazing once you got to know them. Well, Jen, I just got on Twitter and I listened to Jen's podcast. I can't remember how we connected. Maybe I just was firing things out. And she does this great podcast on creativity and entrepreneurship. And my pal Dewey, co-host of episode 50 and a million other episodes we've done, is an entrepreneur himself. I have the opportunity to be a business partner of his. And it's an amazing journey, but we've used her podcast in many ways, because she always seems to put a podcast out that really kind of nails it, like hits it right on the dot. And I'm very excited. I've connected with people, and I wouldn't say our relationship is superficial. Jen, I hope you're listening, and you're amazing, and I really appreciate the compliments you gave me in the last episode. I didn't really kind of express my appreciation when you did it. I was shocked you did that awesome compliment. And I think hopefully I can have you on the show again. But if you did listen to the show, episode 47, you'd learn that on the 21st, when we do our 50th episode of Tomfoolery Brewing Company, that it's Jen's birthday. And I know Jen lives down in Virginia, but if she can come up, it will be a birthday celebration. It will be a birthday party and a celebration for her. I think it would be awesome if you can come. If not, you'll be there in spirit, and you'll be talked about the whole time. And Tim, I don't want to miss Tim Trueheart, her co-host. He's an awesome dude too. Well, hopefully I can chill out with him. And I think he does an amazing job complimenting Jen. They're the Jellyvision Show. I'll have to put the link. Go to episode 47. The link is in the show notes, and you guys can listen. So since my last podcast, One thing I want to throw this out there, and I know he's not on the live stream, but I know he listens to the show. Another gentleman I met at the podcast convention, the Mid-Atlantic Podcast Convention, his name is Dave Steele. Again, an opportunity to meet a good person that really puts himself out there to express himself. And now that I'm part of this podcast community, we find a way to kind of intermingle in each other's worlds. And Dave Steele and a few of his kids and some friends do a Dungeons and Dragons role-playing recording where they do voices, they play games, they roll the 20-side dice. You know, I remember that my memories of Dungeons and Dragons was my grandmother was a hardcore Catholic, that anyone who played Dungeons and Dragons worshiped Satan, but a lot of times have changed since then. Most of my role-playing is done in video games, but it was I'm extremely thankful that David actually this past weekend opened up his home to me. I went there very early in the morning on a Sunday. He allowed me to sit in the show, and actually I voiced one of the characters on the show. Now, soon as he posts that, I will put it on. Hey, Chris. Hey, Joe. I'm going to put this in our Facebook page, the Dependent Independent Podcast Facebook page, and we are. I'm excited. That's talk about a comfort zone. I mean, I'm sitting here and they're playing games, and you know, I might seem comfortable because I've done this a lot, but I was completely out of my element, and I was sweating and my heart was beating. But their dungeon master Amara did an amazing job bringing me in the loop, and I played an image painting, who was it sounded like an 80s kind of Max Headroom War Games kind of computer that answered questions. That's it. And I was able to create that, and it was awesome. And hey, Karen. It's good to see you, Karen. So, like I said before, this is a live stream. These minisodes live stream. So if you're listening, go to our Facebook page and you can actually see the before, which is cool because I hop on about 15 minutes before I hit record. Then I record the show, and then I kind of hang as I all this adrenaline pumps, and I kind of chill out. So birthdays. Every time I do these minisodes, I try to think of a cool topic, definitely one that's relevant. And tomorrow is December 6th. It is a Tuesday, and I decided to take the day off. I am taking a personal day to just do what I want to do. My wife's going to work. The kids will be in school, and I have probably about 9 hours if I wake up at 6:30, which most likely I will because the dog will wake me up because he wants to go outside. But it's funny, when you turn 41, the most exciting thing you can do, at least in I think, is take the day off, right? Take a day off and not give a shit, because you spend 364 days giving a shit, giving yourself out, and it's a day to maybe be a little bit selfish. Maybe I'll go see a movie. Maybe I'll go buy a video game. Maybe I'll play some video games. Maybe I'll record another podcast. Maybe I'll work on our marketing material for the event next month. Who knows? I do have coffee with someone, a marketer in town, and I am meeting with the guy that's going to help me with my shirts at Rodeo Robot in Hamilton, New Jersey. So it's my day and my head's physically planned out, but the cleaning lady's coming. I got to straighten up. Who straightens up, before the cleaning lady comes? But we do, because we want to be able to clean around stuff. We don't have a lot of stuff, but the kids seem to, anything they pull out never seems to find its way back. So my birthday is tomorrow, and happy birthday to my twin sister, who I hope is listening to. Her name's Vicky. But I was thinking, one thing we all have in common, everyone on the live stream and everyone listening right now, is we all have a birthday. It all starts with one. And I'm sure all of you can agree the absurdity of that first birthday. I have 2 kids, and anyone who has kids on here will know that there just seems to be like an unwritten rule about birthdays, a way to celebrate birthdays. And then on top of that, it's a whole parent etiquette as your kids start celebrating birthdays, which that's a whole thing I didn't know until I actually started going to birthdays. But it's amazing that, you're at 41 and you take a day off, but the first birthday, the absurdity of it is your parents spend money. I mean, now we actually got a place with our kids to celebrate a 1-year-old's birthday when the 1-year-old will never remember it at all, never remember it. And the mission of the party is for them to slam their head into a cake or get messy. Now, I've never seen that written anywhere, but that seems to be the tradition. I don't know what other cultures do, but that seems to be the case. So the first birthday is always the one you remember, right? Or as you have kids, the one that you remember your kids going through. It's like that rite of passage. Then you kind of go through this evolution with birthdays where you have family over, right? You turn 2, and I'm gonna keep going back and forth with your kids and as you as a kid, because I know most of you on this listening to this show don't really remember when you turned 2. Some of you might, some of you might not. Hey, Brooke. So I think it again, this unwritten way of inviting family over, right? The kid, you as a child, you kind of remember who's there. You see certain people. You know, you get a lot of presents, and it's sometimes all about family coming over that maybe family don't like, but it's an excuse to get the family over. And then you kind of go through, 2 and 3 and 4, and then as you start making friends, and your kids start making friends, you start kind of going out. The birthday kind of evolves where it moves out of the house, and then it starts going to places, sports places, trampoline places, video game buses, all these things that suddenly, as a parent, it was fairly economical to invite the aunts and uncles and the grandmas and grandpops over, but now you're forking out $300, $400 to get someone else. Now, mind you, that cost is there's got to be a convenience fee, because the fact that you go from having these parties at the house to then now it's somebody else's problem, and for 2 hours your kids stay entertained, and then they give them back to you, and then you leave. Jess, I never did laser tag, but that would have been kind of cool. I never did. But most of the kids do like gyms and stuff around here. Roller rinks. That was when I was a kid. The Eatontown roller rink in Monmouth County, that was like the tits. I mean, that was like that was a fun place to have your birthday. But again, when you talk about those unwritten rules, right? It's play, pizza, cake, right? There's this trope that no one ever wants to break. It's this thing. The kids play, they do some activity, they eat pizza, they go back. Maybe one kid doesn't get sick, because there's always that kid that pukes. Why is that? There's always a kid that pukes, and then you get the cake. And you wave, you get your free gift, and then you leave. I didn't experience that until Megan, when the kids were young, she used to take the kids to all the parties. And not only do you have these traditional parties, these unwritten rules of how these birthdays evolve, I didn't realize, like, as a parent, you can't have the fun you normally would if you hang out with parents. There's like this etiquette. Like, you can either be the parent that drops the kids off and leaves them there, or you you drop them off, or you stay. And if you stay, there's kind of a mingling, like if you're inviting the kids in their class, let's say, you might not know all the parents. So you spend a lot of time shaking hands and introducing yourself. But the irony is you may never see those people again. And especially, nothing drives me more nuts in town here. I live in a small town in Jersey, South Jersey. When I meet somebody, have a 5-minute conversation, and then I see them at ShopRite or the grocery store, and they don't say hi, or I can't remember their name. That's what's so great about Facebook. You pop on Facebook. If my wife is friends with them, I can look through their friends and find who they are. It's the weirdest, again, that etiquette, that manners kind of thing, where you build relationships with people at these parties and you never see them again. An adult party, by the way, you talk to somebody, you drink. I mean, throw some alcohol in there. You don't forget anything. But it's funny, you don't. And it's just like those 2 hours at a party. Now, disclaimer, please don't think that I'm knocking parties that people offer. I mean, it's great that, like, to be invited and my kids to have fun, but I mean, this is a podcast, so and it's a birthday theme, so I gotta say something. Then you kind of go through, which my kids aren't there yet. Well, my daughter is, but remember those parties where you go from having big parties to then just having small parties where you invite a group of friends. The only caveat to that is you're inviting people that are friends, and then the word gets out there that, hey AJ, what's up? You get the friends out there that or kids that aren't invited. So then suddenly there's that. Remember that thing I was telling you about before, that judgment that where it's all inclusive because it's the kid's first birthday. All of us experienced it, and all of those who have kids experienced it. And then suddenly it gets more exclusive, right? Totally exclusive. And then the kids. Now, I haven't experienced this, but I remember as we got older, my twin sister and I, birthdays, I mean, I haven't done this with my kids yet, but birthdays were kind of like maybe a dinner out, right? This one day that you have, and it goes from being, you finally survived adolescence, and then it's just like maybe you're with friends. I mean, the first meal that my wife ever made for me back in college was on my birthday. It's great. It's a great story. I'll save it for another podcast. Hopefully I'll have her tell it. And it's still special, but it just isn't the same. So we start coming up with ways to maybe, on my birthday, I'll go treat myself to something. Maybe I'll go to Best Buy, buy myself a new TV. And Megan hates it, the fact that my birthday is so close to Christmas. I used to always get my best Christmas gift, so the things maybe she was thinking of getting me for Christmas on my birthday. And then you have, I almost missed something. And then you get the combo gifts. There's a lot of folks I know that are celebrating birthdays now. My friend Sam, my friend Greg, my friend DJ, all these folks are celebrating their birthdays in December. And the closer you get to December, you get these combo gifts, this where mom and dad give you a gift that, they wait maybe a week or two and they go, well, that's for your Christmas and your birthday, which is like, oh, wow, thanks. That's really great. I pity anybody who was born on December 25th or 27th. Or the 23rd. That just sucks. Unless parents create those traditions. We talked about traditions in a few podcasts ago. And when I talk about these, they're just unwritten rules. These things that when I became a parent, it's not like they sat me down and said, hey, Dewey, hey, it's like, I guess we try to recreate those experiences that we had as kids because we want our kids to have the same thing. But at the end of the day, I challenge anybody out there to do something different on your kid's first birthday. Like, do something different. Go to Disney. Go to have a picnic with the family. Kid's not going to care. Trust me, I don't remember my first birthday. I've seen pictures, and it's always just tons of icing all over my face, and my twin sister and I sitting in a high chair right next to me. Big steel, high chair. Probably was a pain in the ass to clean. And the cakes flopping everywhere, and those are the memories, right? Those, I guess we do that as we get older. We hang on to those events. And I'm turning 41. My 40th was great. And then we get to a point where it's like we only celebrate decades. Like now to a point, right? The only special ones is when I turn 50. And maybe you do 55. Maybe you do that. I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, I'll have dinner tomorrow. I don't expect anything. Your expectations kind of drop too. And then you have these folks that I have a woman I work with. I swear to God, she looks younger than me. She is older than me. She is beating father time. She's amazing. She's my business partner at work, but she hates people acknowledging her birthday. But what I would do, like any good friend at work, is I always on her birthday buy her the loudest music playing card I can purchase. The bigger, the better. And hey, Allie, what's up? Finally, it's good to see you. We got to connect after this, Allie. We have a website launching next month. My goal is to launch it next month because we have people on the Facebook page. I really want to kind of branch off and kind of create a big hub because we're bouncing all over social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I want to do my best to get us on the dependentindependent.com page. And my dog, apologies, I don't want my dog's whistling, but he's in the background. Like I said, house is quiet, but I kind of liven it up again. So turning 41, and hopefully I'll turn, I'm pretty certain I'll turn 42. But I'm taking the day off tomorrow just for a day to myself to reflect. And I really just wanted to share kind of just some perspective, and I'm sure everyone on this podcast and on the live stream can relate because all of you have had a birthday. Some of them have probably gone to shit. They didn't work out. I could tell you one that I remember vividly. I was at a kid's birthday party, Josh Genovese, when I lived with my grandmother. Josh, we're not friends on Facebook, but I think it's probably a cat outside. If you listen to that podcast, my dog flips out when there's a cat outside. So Josh Genovese has a birthday party, and nothing could be more safer than when you hang up a piñata in a house and give a 7 or 8-year-old a bamboo rod to swing. And I remember grabbing this. I was that kid that ruined the party. I grab the thing, and they blindfold me, and they say, hit it. And all I remember is starting that thing in the back as if I was Don Mattingly, swinging that thing, and I only got half a swing, and suddenly that bamboo rod stopped. I mean, boom. And I look up, I take the blindfold off, and I hit the birthday kid square in the temple. It gave him a huge knot. Party was over. Everybody went home, and it's a total tragedy. So I have a problem with piñatas. I don't get that either at a birthday. But people do it. Again, like people do it. I'm sure this kid has piñatas at his party, fills them up with candy, rips them up, and has a great time. So I guess it's all about, do we hold on to our youth by reliving our birthdays with our kids? Do we feel we're slighting them by not doing the exact same thing that we did? I don't know. I have no idea. Luckily, my kids, I don't think, have much of that expectation. But hopefully, as I get older, I don't become too much of a curmudgeon. I do enjoy my days off. I mean, it's really simple pleasures, man. I think that's the best part. You can afford to be selfish on your birthday. But kids, I'd hate to get my kids to be too expecting too much. Oh, hey, buddy. You got in here? The door's open? I didn't know the door was open. Hey, everybody, it's Lucky. Hey, pal. I'm sorry. All right, we're going to finish this up. But that's my philosophy on birthdays. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you can relate to that in some way, shape, or form. And next time you have a birthday, do something you like. Create a tradition you've never created before. And make sure you don't spoil your kids too much, because they'll expect you to do something huge every time you have a birthday. And that's we don't want to do as parents, is create monsters. This is MiniSode 47.5 of the TDI podcast. In our future episodes before 50, I'm going to have my friends Allie McAdam and Dana Buckler on the show for episode 48 and 49. And obviously, Dewey's going to be co-hosting with me episode 50 of the Dependent Independent podcast at the Tomfoolery Brewing Company. We're going to be marking the shit out of it. It's a great opportunity to help out the brewery. They don't need my help, but any way to get more people in. If you are listening to the show and you're local, I'd love for you to come visit. I shot invites to virtually everyone I know, but if you are coming, feel free to share that invite with other people. I'll be right there, Luck. He's crazy. So we'd love to have you there. I'm not quite sure what the theme's going to be, but I have an idea about how we can get people that do visit to actually come. And I thought I shut my door, to come and get to come up to the microphone, this microphone I have right here that I'm trying out, to get an opportunity to share something and get to know the TDI podcast community. You can follow me on Twitter at @dependent_Nick. All of our ways to connect with us is in the show notes, the Dependent Independent podcast page, a few videos we have on YouTube at that page, and you can follow me on Instagram at @dependent_Nick. You could download this, share the show, rate the show on iTunes. If you are a subscriber, go ahead and rate the show. It allows me to kind of branch off, and sharing the show is how we build our listenership. I don't have big names on here. I don't bring in famous people and have them promote the hell out of my show. I don't think I'd be very good at that, but all the followers we have and all the subscribers we have come from being either connecting with me or connecting with the community. So it really, really excites me that I can do that and be a part of something a little bit bigger than myself. MiniSode 47.5 of the TDI podcast. Thank you for subscribing and listening, and we are out. I am out.